Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Enrichment, where we talk to small business owners and entrepreneurs on strategies and best practices. Now, although small businesses are often at a disadvantage when competing with bigger companies, they can have one advantage. They can always be smarter than the competition. So, this week we're going to talk about the pencil. The history of the commonplace pencil depends on your definition. The very first writing implement that could be called a pencil was invented by an Italian couple, probably 400 or 500 years ago, and they simply used a hollowed out stick of juniper. Now, this invention was quickly refined by gluing two pieces of wood around a piece of graphite. Now, originally, pencils, mainly used by carpenters, were oval shaped, so they wouldn't roll away. The pencil, as we know it today, with its six-sided hexagonal shape and an eraser on the end, was patented by a stationer named Hymen Lipman in 1858. Now, today, whenever we want to communicate anything, we usually reach for a keyboard, and I'm no exception. However, there are some things I miss about the pencil. Having started school back in 1957, I've had a lot of experience with the pencil. And I have to admit, holding a well-worn, dull, short stump of a pencil still makes me feel good. It's an indication of accomplishment. It's a symbol of persistence, relentless effort towards a goal. It doesn't have to be one specific task. Just knowing that I've worn that pencil down to where it doesn't reach the blades in the sharpener gives me a smug sense of capability. So why am I talking about the pencil? Well, as you may recall, recently, we talked about the danger of doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. We looked at the need to let it go, to move on and try a different approach or pursue something new entirely. What we didn't talk about was persistence and dedication. We didn't talk about the need to keep at it even when the task seems dull and uninteresting, or when the initial flush of excitement has worn off and we feel worn out. When we reach this point, we must ask ourselves a couple of questions. The obvious one is, should I quit? Is now the time to give up and move on? We also need to ask, am I quitting because I recognize that I can't do it? Or am I surrendering because it's hard? President Kennedy said, we choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. At times, it can be a narrow line between can't and won't. At times, the only difference between success and failure is persistence. Knowing when to quit is one thing. Surrendering because it's too hard, that's the other thing. The keys to persistence are focus, patience, application, and endurance. Words that are seldom used in today's fast-paced, quick success, get it now world. Whenever you're thinking of quitting because it looks too hard, I have a suggestion. Either physically or more likely metaphorically, take a look at that well-worn stub of a pencil. Remember how hard you've worked to get to that point. Then pick up a shiny new one, put a good sharp point on it, lay out a crisp new piece of paper, and keep going. Here's a quote from Dwight Eisenhower. It takes a little thought, but I think it applies to our discussion today. President Eisenhower said, farming looks mighty easy when your plow is a pencil and you're 1,000 miles from the cornfield. Well, I hope you found that useful. And if you'd like to discuss anything regarding this topic or any small business strategy, reach out to me at at speakingofsuccess.us. I'd love to talk. Just use my calendar and schedule a time that's most convenient for you. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you very much. Bye.